on 9th of August 2022, and I thought it's also respectful to the voters to have the first opportunity to hear from me before the honorable members, because they are the ones who elected me to office. Article 1 of the Kenya Constitution says that the power, the sovereignty of this great nation rests with the people. And Parliament, that is the National Assembly and the Senate, enjoy the leadership of the people. It is therefore very important that the people who elected me as Deputy President get my response of the very outrageous accusations against the Deputy President that have no basis, that is sheer propaganda, that is a scheme to hold me out of office because of other political considerations, and has nothing to do with violation of the Constitution. It has nothing to do with gross misconduct, and it has absolutely nothing to do with committing international or national crimes. The people of Kenya are therefore entitled by right to hear from their Deputy President what is his response to those outrageous allegations. Again, an attempt to do a public participation in a very short exercise that was done. My response was not part of what was presented to the people of Kenya. The people of Kenya were being asked to give their views as to whether the Deputy President should be impeached from office, and the accusations were attached, but in a highly legalistic language beyond the comprehension of many Kenyans. But the response of the Deputy President was not there to enable them make an informed decision by listening to the charges against him and listening to his response, because the rules of natural justice demand that no man should be condemned unheard. My lawyers will be vigorously challenging that public participation as a nullity, and that does not meet the threshold of public participation as expounded by the Supreme Court of Kenya during the celebrated case of Governor Peter Wabora. The motion alleges that 2 years since assuming office, Gachagua has acquired property and wealth whose estimated value is 5.2 billion, despite his known income by way of employment is 24 million. This is extremely outrageous. Honorable Mutuse goes ahead to give properties that he alleges are owned by one Gachagua. I trust he was just given a document to sign. Had he taken some bit of time to do some research, he would not embarrass himself and the National Assembly. James Derito Gachagua was the governor of Nyeri and died in London on the 24th of February 2017, and yours truly, Rigathi Gachagua, was by his bedside. Prior to his death, 3 or 4 weeks before, in privacy, he wrote his will and appointed Rigathi Gachagua as an executor of that will, jointly with Mwai Mathenge, his close time buddy, who is a quantity surveyor, and celebrated lawyer Njoroge Regeru. The three of us were tasked to manage his estate. In the will, you'll be given a copy. He did put his properties and assets and cash and anything that he owned in this world. And among the things that he did put was the Olive Garden Hotel, Vipingo Beach Resort, the Queen's Gate apartment, and Langata high-rise flats. It is these 4 properties that the Honorable Mutuse alleges in the National Assembly that Rigathi Gachagua has acquired them after becoming Deputy President in 2022 when Derito Gachagua died in 2017. It is the most embarrassing allegation a member of parliament can table before the National Assembly. Those properties were constructed and were in operation when the late Gachagua was alive. I take this opportunity to ask for forgiveness to my late brother, James Derito Gachagua, that today, as your younger brother defends himself, he'll defile your privacy by distributing your will that you wrote in privacy. That your properties that you worked so hard for many years to benefit your wives and children are now a subject of discussion and are alleged to be proceeds of corruption. How unfair, how cruel can you be to a dead man? A man who worked so hard, a man who gave his life for his family, to buy plots, to construct property, and leave them in his death for his children and his brothers and sisters. And then you go to the floor of the House and allege that those properties are production of corruption. My dear brother, rest in peace and forgive me for having joined politics. Because were it not for politics, you would not suffer this shame. Your children are crestfallen as you see their properties being splashed in newspapers as proceeds of crime. The Olive Garden Hotel that is alleged to have been bought by Rigathi Gachagua belongs to the estate of the late James Derito Gachagua. And in his will, he directed that we sell all his properties and divide the proceeds among his brothers, sisters, wives, and children. We, as the executors of his estate, and I want to pay tribute to lawyer Joroge Regero and Mwai Madenge for their commitment and sacrifice to the Gachagua family. Many executors who have been given properties to run by deceased people end up misusing them and depriving the beneficiaries. These two great men and myself, because my brother knew I'm an honest man and a fair person, and he knew his family would never suffer in my hands. We were able to sell Olive Garden Hotel at 412 million and distributed the proceeds to the beneficiaries as directed in his will. We registered his will in the High Court of Kenya and were given the probate. And my late brother, in his wisdom, left Rigathi Gachagua 5% of his wealth. I was therefore able to get 20 million shillings from this sale. That is money that is in my account, that again I'm told they are proceeds of crime. He left my mother 5% of his wealth, another 20 million shillings. And since my mother is dead, my late brother, because he trusted me, had put in his will that I hold my mother's shares in trust. So that is another 20 million shillings in my account. Again, my late brother left me another 4% put in trust of the children who is deceased, the late Dr. Friend Wachira Gachagua, whose children are in South Africa. And another 16 million shillings was put in my account. My late brother gave 2% to my wife, Pastor Dorcas, because of her kindness of looking after him when he was ill. All this money that has come to me from a dead brother, I'm being told are proceeds of crime. Queen's Gate Service Apartments, another property belonging to the late Gachagua, is another property that I'm told I've bought as when I'm deputy president. That is why I have 5.2 billion worth of money. And this property, again, we sold the Cooperative Bank of Kenya, the staff retirement benefits for nearly 600 million. And this money we utilized to pay his debts. And today, as the late Gachagua rests in heaven, he has no debt. Again, I want to thank my fellow executors, Njoroge Regeru and Maimatenge, for what you have done for my brother. Vipingo Beach Resort